All right, everybody, welcome to week 2 of Success School. I'm really excited for tonight. Hopefully you guys caught the vision last week. You know what Monate is going to do for your life and you're ready to get to work. I am really ready to get to work. I'm feeling so excited about what's to come. We had an epic director's call today. There was like all of corporate is like, this is the best Monations yet. They're like, we have so many good things planned. Everyone's so excited. So I'm really, really, really pumped for the rest of this year. And so we're being intentional on the trainings now to get you guys ready for everything that is to come. So last week we caught the vision and we started shifting how we view sales. I was talking on my stories today about this business being literally brilliant. And it's a dream as women to be able to get paid to look pretty, basically to feel confident and look pretty. And that is literally your job, and then share it with others, right? And this business truly is girl code in that we love to share things that work and things that improve our lives. It's natural for us to share it with the people that we care about. And so I'm excited to go over this book with you guys. It's called Why She Buys. And I first read this book back in my personal training days. Jay and I were personal trainers together. And I'm telling you this because we had so much fun selling. We made it a game, basically. We met at the gym. We were personal trainers together, and Jay taught me everything I know about sales. But we would like go out. We had like a cardio room, and we would go into the cardio room, him and I together, and we called it going hunting. We were like, let's go hunt for new clients. And so it was truly fun. And that's how sales should be. I was on a call with Todd Duncan, and he was talking about how business should be fun. Selling should be fun. Making money should be fun. He's like, this business, this industry isn't something where you wake up and you're like, oh man, like, I don't want to do that. Like, I know when I was a nurse, I had to like drag myself out of my car to physically take one foot in front of the other to get into the hospital. I did not want to do it. This gets to be fun. This gets to be easy. This gets to be something that we wake up and we can't wait to get out of bed and share our beauty products with social media, basically, is our job. So I want one more story before we get into the book. I went to a summer pop-up event this past weekend. And it was really, really good for me, really just gave me a lot of perspective. And it was a smaller event. There were only about 12 market partners there. So it was really intimate, but it was great. And one of the women there, her name is Katie Weaver. You guys might know who she is. She is, hi, Galen, you're fine, babe. So she is on Kendall Weldon's team. I'm forgetting her last name right now. Anyway, she's really, really high up on like a big team, and she's number 1 in PV all the time, number 1 in GV all the time. I didn't know who she was, but meeting her in person, I was just like, wow, the way this lady like carries herself and the way she talks about money, like, okay, this is who I want to be like. She's a Southern lady. And her daughter was there. Her daughter is her biggest leg. And so I found out that Katie Weaver, she has already closed 2 mall neighborhoods this month. So that's 6 market partners and 24 VIPs, you guys, halfway into the month. And she's just so confident with the products, the way she speaks about them. I'm like, wow, okay. And so her daughter was there, and we were talking to our regional director about what products we would want to be like forever products. And both of them were like, wow, we really want self-tanner. And so her daughter, who's a Southern girl, she's like, ooh, girl, you know, I'd sell the mess out of some self-tanner. And I'm like, gosh, like that, just like the way she said it, I'd sell the mess out of some self-tanner. And I'm like, I want to sell the mess out of shampoo. Like, I want to sell the mess out of our skincare. And so for me, I reflected a lot. Like, I used to love sales, right? As a personal trainer, I was just like so confident on the training floor, hunting with Jay, like, who can we get as a client? And I was so confident in my sales. And then becoming a nurse, just as me, just like reflecting, I became much less confident about making recommendations to people because it wasn't allowed, right? Like, I had to like maintain good relationships with my patients, and I wasn't really allowed to recommend like truly what they should do. It's just like, it's your choice. And so I felt that coming into Monate, where I was like, now, like I'm noticing myself that I wasn't as confident in my own voice and like recommending what people should do, having conviction around, you will love this shampoo. This shampoo will literally change your life. These skincare products will rock your entire world. Like, girl, you need to be on this stuff. Like, why are you not using this? And I was like, wow, like that's such a big shift for me, but it's so subtle too, right? And it's just like, I want to own how amazing these products are. I love them. I use them every single day. Like I should count how many Monat products I use in a day. Of course I love them. Of course I can speak with confidence and conviction that these products will change other people's lives if they just use them. And so I want you guys to really embrace, I tell you that to say, I understand. Like I understand how it's hard to like make a recommendation, or it's hard, it can feel scary putting yourselves out there, but I really want us to feel equipped with sales. Know that it's not icky, it's not spammy, it's not sleazy, it's literally providing a solution to someone who needs it. Our hair care provides a solution. Like I just washed, I just did my hair and I'm like, wow, my hair is looking better and better and better. I literally don't have makeup on and I'm like, wow, my skin looks so good. Why wouldn't I be confident to share that with other people? So the products work. We just have to build our skill set and our confidence as sales representatives of a beauty company. So I'm really excited to share this book with you guys. There's a lot that I would like to, it's going to be kind of just, I'm reading a lot to you because it's just so valuable. So I would love if you guys could interact in the comments and engage in the comments, just so it feels like we're talking to each other, but also as like, kind of like a mastermind feel. Like I want you guys to be able to walk away from this week and next week with like actual things that you want to talk about to your social media audience or to people in general, just like having like more of an idea of like how you want to show up and share. So I'm going to skip around a little bit. So, but I highlighted what I want to share with you guys. And so this book says women are females first and consumers second. She tells a lot of stories in this book, which is great, but it says most sales training programs include a mantra about knowing thy customer. Across the world, women are the customers who buy virtually everything there is to be sold. Women make the purchase or are the key influencers in about 80% of all consumer product sales in the United States alone. But who markets and sells products to women? The answer overwhelmingly is men, who occupy 85% of all Fortune 500 corporate officer positions, the majority of chief marketing officer positions, 70%, and corporate executive sales management jobs, and over 90% of the top creative director roles at major advertising agencies. They also happen to represent more than 90% of automotive salesmen. It's enough to make one pause and reflect on all those jokes about car salesmen. Would the jokes be different if the gender split were even? For that matter, would there still be jokes? To make a massive generalization, men are the sex that manufactures products and women are the sex that buys them. This is this part of the story where you may be channeling Jerry Seinfeld and thinking, not that there's anything wrong with that. And you'd be right, except for one thing. Most men don't understand women. Women don't understand men either, but that is a subject for a different book entirely. And while almost all of us will acknowledge and even joke about the gender gap in our own personal lives, what's shocking is how few people have applied an understanding of gender differences to business. This book is designed to teach you what business schools don't, how to craft your products, pitches, and marketing campaigns to cater to female buyers. Women are females first and consumers second. The ability to understand their brain structures, priorities, worldviews, and demographic patterns can provide your company with one of the most genuine competitive advantages it may ever know. And the bonus of reaching female buyers is that when it's done well, you'll make your male customers happier too, and they won't even realize they weren't your original targets. So let me skip to my next highlighted part. Okay, so they said the gender gap is not a gap, it's a canyon. Gender is the most powerful determinant of how a person views the world and everything in it. It's more powerful than age, income, race, or geography. Most of us ignore biological differences when we examine our customer base, mainly because we've never been taught about them. The brain is still a poorly understood organ, but we do know one thing: there's no such thing as a unisex brain. New medical research has shown that brains in human beings have sexually dimorphic regions, or areas that are distinctly different between sexes. The balance of hormones that drive our decision-making processes are complex and distinct to each sex. Biology dictates human behavior in every species, whether it's muskrats, antelopes, or human beings. This book will examine our real-life implications of brain differences and their impact on women's purchasing decisions and emotional responses to product design, advertising, retail environments, and sales pitches. So it's super interesting. We're gonna like literally get into like the not only psychology, but also biology of selling to women. It says now more than ever, in the economic downturn that's gripped the world since this book was first published, its principles have been validated more strongly than ever. Decreased spending combined with the rising influence of social networking, social retailing, e-commerce, and the mobile web has meant that capturing the business of women remains one of the most critical tasks for consumer-focused companies. Women dominate e-commerce spending in the majority of consumer categories, just as they do in the traditional brick and mortar retail. The tools of the trade may be changing, but women's role as chief purchasing officer of the home isn't, nor have the fundamentals of female culture and biology. It's comforting to know that no matter how fast technology advances, no matter how frequently people shop on their mobile phones and laptops, no matter how many clicks are required to make a purchase online, one thing remains the same. Women are the shoppers of this world, and understanding why she buys is the most valuable insurance policy there is. Women are the mother lode, what they didn't teach you in business school. If the consumer economy had a sex, it would be female. If the business world had a sex, it would be male. And therein lies the pickle. New research shows that male and female brains are so different that it's almost as if we're living in our own gender-specific realities. You may have already suspected this, perhaps since kindergarten, but the implications for businesses are just beginning to be understood, and they are nothing short of revelatory. Women are the driving force of the global economy, and men drive the majority of senior-level business decisions, which means that men are usually the people who have the final say in designing and approving products that are aimed at women, developing marketing campaigns that target women, creating retail environments to attract women, and setting up sales training programs that motivate women to say, I'll take it. And so our job is to really become female literate, which is great since we are primarily women on this team. Let's see. So women are females first and consumers second. Here's the rub. Women are females first and consumers second. If you don't find that interesting, then here's what is. The lack of serious thought and attention that's been given to gender differences in product development, sales, and marketing, when it could be argued that these differences are the ones that matter most. Knowing your audience as women must be accomplished before you can begin to understand them as customers. Okay, there are two sexes in the human race, and one of them does most of the shopping. It's no secret that women make or influence the majority of consumer purchasing decisions for the home, about 80% in the United States. Women are the primary shoppers for the household, which means they're buying not only for themselves, but also for everyone else, their spouses, their kids, their friends, their family, their colleagues, and often their older parents, which multiplies their buying power and their influence. If a married man needs a new pair of socks, there's a very good chance his wife will be the one buying them. Like I said, I'm kind of skipping around a little bit, but there were like some just chunks that I wanted to include here. Women have never been more powerful in terms of their buying power. Historically, they've always had informal purchasing authority for their households, meaning they were in charge of shopping for it, though they often were spending their husband's income, and they still do, but they now have the added weight of formal shopping authority. They're earning money themselves and enriching their households while doing it. Okay, so now we know why it's important to really understand women, because they're our primary consumers, Genuine knowledge of women's brain structures, priorities, worldviews, and demographic patterns can provide you with a genuine competitive advantage. It's time to jump on the situation before your competitors figure out that this is what they need to be doing too. All right, let's skip ahead. We get to the good stuff here. So, consumer research is a vital part of any business, but sometimes it merely shows us the tip of the iceberg. To truly understand what drives the behaviors and motivations of women consumers, it's important to go deep into the biological differences that impact how they view the world. The full extent of our brain differences is still uncharted territory, but here's what scientists have determined so far. Emotion. The limbic system, or emotional bonding center of the brain, tends to be larger in women, which may explain why women are the primary caretakers for children and the elderly in almost every society of the world. Memory. The hippocampus, the hub of emotion and memory formation, is larger in the female brain, which is likely the reason that women are better at expressing emotions and remembering the details of emotional events than men are. This is why women can recall every word of a major argument or special event, even years later, often to the chagrin of their partners. Speech. Women use both sides of their brains for speech, while men use only one. Women also have more nerve cells in the left half of their brain, the seat of our ability to process language. This is why women find verbal communication easier than men do and tend to have richer vocabularies. When was the last time you heard a man use the word mauve? Men tend to be more to the point in language. Sex. Men have more than twice the brain and processing power devoted to sexual drive than women do. At puberty, boys develop 20 times as much testosterone as girls do. Among other things, this is a biological explanation for why the worldwide pornography industry is supported almost entirely by the male sex. Socializing. Testosterone has been shown to decrease talking as well as interest in socializing, except when it involves sports or sexual pursuit. Multitasking. Women have more connections between the two sides of the brain, which may explain why they're able to do things like make pancakes while composing an email. Men tend to activate one side of their brain when processing information, which means that they are better at compartmentalizing data and addressing one thing at a time before moving on to the next. Body language. Women have a greater capacity to read faces and hear emotional cues in voices, which may be an evolutionary adaptation that's enabled them to respond successfully to the needs of wordless infants. Women are good at this because survival of the species depends on it. Spatial problems. Women and men use different strategies to solve spatial problems. When trying to find their way, women prefer to use landmarks, turn right at the McDonald's, while men prefer to use Euclidean information, which is why they reach for maps. So one of the top gender differences is that women and men define achievement in different ways. Men strive to be independent and women strive to be indispensable. So let's start at childhood, where gender differences reveal themselves early, much to the amazement of parents who have children of different sexes. Consider how kids play, which has been studied in a great depth by sociologists. When little girls get together, their games are based on role playing, and scores are generally not kept. You can't win a game of Tea Party. Girls will play games such as house, doctor, mommy, baby, school, and grocery store, and they'll also play nurturing games with dolls. Organized sports come into their lives later on through formal leagues run by adults. Women left to their own devices, it's rare to see little girls forming themselves into competitive teams. An emphasis on nurturing and fairness is the foundation of girls' role-playing games. Girls take turns because that's the fair way to play. I'll be mommy first, then it's your turn. One-on-one friendships dominate their lives in a pattern that will continue throughout adulthood. Little girls tend to have a best friend, and they can often be seen with a cupped hand over their friend's ear, telling each other their secrets. Conversations are the glue that binds their friendships from a very early age. Bossy girls are criticized and put into their place by both peers and adults, Caitlin. Young girls are taught that they should always be modest, that showing off is a bad thing, and that fairness is the most important part of any game. In addition, girls learn early that it's important for them to develop two social talents, being liked and being helpful. Subsequently, when they grow up, they aspire to be liked and helpful to the point of being indispensable. This is reinforced by biology. As we've learned, in female brains, the limbic system, or the emotional brain, tends to be larger than in men's. This larger limbic system makes it easier and subsequently more important for women to bond with other people throughout their lives. On the other side of the playground, things are different. When little boys grow old enough to play games with others, they're socialized within the context of games that are competitive and have winners and losers. Through these games and sports, young boys learn about life's rules, which is why grown men are so comfortable using sports analogies to describe them later in life. Boys strive to achieve status within their groups by dominating others, whether it's through their size and physical prowess. It's always better to be the biggest and strongest boy, their ability to issue commands, or their skill at a particular sport or subject. Adults often view little boys who dominate others as having leadership qualities. Instead of being viewed as bossy, as the little girls are, these boys are considered natural leaders. Look at how the other kids follow him around. Adults will say admiringly, he's a natural leader. Right from the start, boys are taught that independence is a virtue and that their self-esteem is fueled by achieving things without help from anyone else. Being independent, competitive, and dominant are qualities that are encouraged in boys. All grown up, but still the same. Fast forward to adulthood. Women want to achieve success in life just as much as men do, but their definition of success is different. Achievement is something more internal, not necessarily tied to external factors such as beating someone else. That's why hyper-competitive messages in advertising typically doesn't resonate with women. When women compete, they compete against themselves. That resonates so hard. They are their own toughest critics. And because they're socialized to be helpful growing up, the thought of beating others through their own victories can make them feel a little uncomfortable. After all, if you're beating someone, you're not being very helpful, are you? That's why women find success much sweeter if it also benefits the people they care about. Their view of achievement is not only internal, but also inclusive. With their larger emotional center in the brain, creating successful relationships is an important priority. There are a lot of corny stereotypes out there about women and relationships, but the fact is that the world is built on relationships, and women are the undisputed champs at creating them. Women consider building relationships to be the most valuable of life's achievements. Yes, Caitlin, say it.
I'm just sitting here thinking oh, we all think we have this unique upbringing, and I'm like, wait, right? We all actually function the same. Sure, there's unique things about all of us, but I'm like, as women, at our cores, when we're in alignment, we are so much the same. I don't know, it just gives me really a lot of inspiration too, because I'm like, wait, if that's how we all are, that's how everyone that we're talking to is too.
Totally, totally. It's just yeah, we need to just highlight these aspects of the business. If we know that that's what women are literally looking for, we're wired to look for this, it's okay, let's talk about it a little bit more.
Right. And it's not so much. Yeah, I think we get so tied into okay, I'm a market partner with Monet. And it's yeah, you are, but hitting on these things, not a flash sale, is the point of it.
Yes. Yes. And that's what makes it more fun too. It's not how do I how do I promote this flash sale? It's like, no, I know how to show up and provide so much value and build bomb relationships and establish trust and connection with my audience. And of course, they're going to want to buy what I'm selling. It's like, that's the shift.
Totally. This is so good.
Yay, I love it. Thanks for sharing, babe. Let's see. Women prioritize and cultivate strong personal and business relationships because creating these networks of family, friends, and colleagues is a primary source of joy and fulfillment. Anthropologists believe this is one reason women handle retirement better than men. They've built a network of relationships and friendships they can fall back on after their working days are over. This is also the reason that people with aging parents worry when their elderly mom dies before their father. The common fear is that the father will spend his days alone in the dark, watching TV and eating canned food, since his wife was the one who kept up with the hustle and the bustle of the social relationships. How real is that? Okay. In a nutshell, if men measure self-worth by achieving status and doing so independently, women measure self-worth by the quality of the relationships they've established in their lives, starting within their own families. So true. Okay, so just a couple points on help, because it's something that women really value is help. Like men don't really like asking for help, but women do. Women are more likely to seek human interaction in almost any type of sales transaction. In a recent study, researchers found that women react more strongly than men to personal interaction with sales associates. The study reveals that for women, lack of help when needed is the top problem. Funny enough, men react more strongly to the utilitarian aspects of the shopping process, ranking difficulty in finding parking close to the store's entrance as the #1 problem. This is funny. At its simplest, business is all about motivating people to buy something from you instead of from someone else, or instead of nothing at all. Clearly, understanding what motivates women is critical if they are your target audience. For example, women generally don't enjoy wading through highly technical instruction manuals, which is one of the reasons the Geek Squad from Best Buy has become so popular. For a lot of men, reading the manual and figuring out a product is part of the fun. So just helping women is a big part. No matter what your business, strive to make service a major differentiator. The cliche that good help is hard to find is still true, and great service can provide a serious competitive advantage when it comes to serving women. Women want assurance upfront from your company, upfront, that your company won't leave them high and dry if something goes wrong. They have a highly developed sense of fairness and expect the companies they deal with to have it too. So it's great, obviously, that we're partnered with Monate and they have so much integrity and take such good care of their customers, but also us as the sales reps, like customer care is a huge part of this business. Top-notch customer care will definitely be like a pivotal aspect of making sure that your people keep buying, that they're happy with their purchase, that they want to have like not only brand loyalty to Monate, but brand loyalty to you too, as their like sales rep. Leverage the word of mouth power that women customers have on any business. Women want to be considered indispensable, and that means being the source of valuable information to the people they care about. If women are happy with your business, they are delighted to tell people they know, especially if you provide an incentive for them to do so. From loyalty programs to referral programs, if you're not leveraging your base of women customers to bring in their contacts, you're leaving money on the table. To ingratiate women in your company, let them feel like insiders when it comes to news and information about your business. Women like to be in the know because they enjoy being the source of good information in their social and business circles, which is why this business is so smart, because it's like literally what we're meant to do. I will say this all the time. This is girl code. This business is girl code. And we like to feel like we're bringing powerful information that's going to change our friends and family's lives to the table. And so it's just very natural for us to do this. Invest in human help. Women believe that asking for help is an efficient way to get something done, and they won't hesitate to ask for something if you make help available to them. It's impossible to know how many women have walked out of the door or abandoned a website simply because they couldn't find the help they needed in an easy or timely fashion. Too much help is way better than too little help. Gender difference number 2. Women connect with each other by talking about their feelings and revealing their vulnerabilities. Men connect with each other by engaging in activities and hiding their vulnerabilities. At the root of women's relationships is the ritual of sharing feelings, sharing fears, and sharing vulnerabilities, or what's called as self-disclosure. Men sometimes call this yakking. This is why women talk on the phone for so long or have lunch for 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon. I've noticed that my husband starts to giving me the eye after I've spent just 20 minutes on the phone with one of my sisters or girlfriends. In his mind, 20 minutes is about 19 longer than necessary. When I start to feel bad that I'm not paying attention to him, I begin the slow process of hanging up. What he doesn't realize is that, given the chance, I could easily go on and on for much longer. There is simply not enough time in the day to chat with our girlfriends about all the subjects that need to be covered. So what do women talk about? Everything. There is no subject too small, no observation too minute. But mainly, we talk about how we feel about things. Conversations about emotions are the stuff that binds women together throughout their entire lives. Women actively seek the counsel of friends and family members for help with their problems and as a way of connecting with one another. The strange thing is that women feel powerful when they can give advice and help people with their problems, not just when they can boss them around. For reference, see any episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show. Biologically, women have high levels of oxytocin, which is a bonding hormone that's triggered by intimacy. Sharing secrets and connecting in an intimate way also actually activates the pleasure centers in a woman's brain. Physiologically, it feels great to bond with other women. That's one reason our phone calls are so long. Most men don't have the tolerance for the level of detail involved in women's conversations. Women also have the habit of getting personal fast. On a flight from Austin to Dallas, I sat next to a woman who was a perfect stranger. By the time the short flight was over, I knew all about her struggle with infertility and her decision to not adopt a child from China. An extreme example of self-disclosure? Sure. Was I surprised? Not really. Women, and American women in particular, are known for talking about their feelings quite openly, and they enjoy the opportunity to connect with someone else, no matter how briefly. The woman on my flight was an extreme case, but she was clearly looking for validation from me, a stranger, that she had made the right choice about her fertility options. Somehow these conversations never happen to me when I sit next to a man, especially in business class. From the time they are little girls, talking about feelings is the linchpin of, oh, let me get my back up. Okay. That's so funny. From the time they are little girls, talking about feelings is the linchpin of women's relationships. Prick up your ears at the office and listen to what you hear. If a woman is having a bad hair day or feels like she's put on 5 pounds, she will tell all her female colleagues before they even have a chance to notice. In female culture, a woman reveals a weakness, knowing full well that the woman she's talking to will make her feel better by telling her that no, her hair looks really great that day, and those pants truly do look loose. Women depend on these responses and are stricken when they make these remarks in front of men who either agree with them, which is not the answer they're looking for, or stay silent because they don't understand how the female conversational ritual is played out. Here's how it works. I put myself down, you pull me back up. You put yourself down, I pull you back up. That's the cadence of female communication. My turn to make you feel good, your turn to make me feel good. Everybody gets a turn feeling good. And you've no doubt witnessed on Monday mornings at the office, as you've no doubt witnessed on Monday mornings at the office, compliments are one of the most powerful ways that women connect to each other. Women use compliments as verbal shortcuts to make someone else feel good. Did you get that new blouse this weekend? It's gorgeous. Female friends have been known to pass hours in conversation, complimenting, reassuring, and validating one another while downing coffee and listening to each other's problems. Why are women so prolific with their compliments? Society tells women that one of their biggest jobs is to look beautiful. This not so subtle message is borne out in magazines, advertisements, videos, movies, television shows, and virtually every other medium, visual or not. How many times has the word hot ever been used in a song? Appearance is one of the primary things that women are judged on, and so they appreciate hearing reassurance that they're making the grade. All women intuitively understand this and subsequently provide each other with reassurance in the form of compliments. Men are often oblivious to this pressure because they're judged on other criteria besides their looks and their bodies. Have you ever heard of a bathing suit cover-up for men? No, of course not. Men aren't taught to be ashamed if they don't have a perfect body. Women are, which explains why men are bewildered by women's endless compliments and why women seek them out. Female friendships are a critical and somewhat overlooked aspect of women's lives. An afternoon with the girls can make a stressed out female feel like a new woman. This is because oxytocin, that pleasure enhancing chemical in the body that's released anytime women are under stress, as well as when they're with people they care about. Each positive interaction with friends becomes like a mini high. Women actually have a physiological reaction to being with good friends and hearing all the laughter, supportive words, and compliments, and this is heightened when touching and hugging are included. The best part about receiving compliments is that they work equally well whether given with your best friend or the stranger standing next to you at the grocery store. It's all about affirmation and rationalizing each other's decisions. Yes, Christy, that haircut really does work on you. And when it comes to buying products, especially big ticket items, women look for help rationalizing everything from a haircut to a new car. In female culture, affirmation and appreciation are closely related. Women are the queens of the thank you gesture, and the options for displaying their gratitude know no bounds. The world of thank you notes, thank you gifts, and thank you bouquets is the domain of the female sex. Gratitude is given enthusiastically with exclamation points, even for the smallest of acts. Oh my God, thank you for picking me up this morning. You saved my life, exclamation point. You can be sure that the gender that displays gratitude on such a large scale expects it in return when they give their business to a company. They often end up disappointed, which is why it can be such a competitive advantage if you put even the smallest effort into an appreciation program. Even just sharing like so much excitement, like, oh my gosh, thank you for becoming my VIP. Thank you for trusting me. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see your hair transform. Make sure you take a picture of your before hair so we can track your progress. Like excitement, exclamation points, gratitude. That is like a real part of doing sales as women. So this next part is called the Oprah effect. It's hard to think of someone who connects with women more effectively than Oprah Winfrey. She relates to women of every demographic in three powerful ways: through affirmation, through self-disclosure, and through compliments. Oprah never invented anything. She has no factories. There are no trucks loaded with her inventory cruising down the highways. Her fortune and her influence have come from her ability to connect with women. Like the late Princess Diana, Oprah publicly reveals her struggles, her vulnerabilities, her fears, and her deepest dreams for the future. She is constantly trying to improve. Women around the world think, wow, Oprah is just like me. She struggles with the same things that I do. When you think about it, Oprah's fan base of moms from middle America has actually very little in common with this brilliant media mogul who is single, childless, and a billionaire to boot. It doesn't matter that Oprah's fans don't have anything in common with her on the surface. Like most successful female to female relationships, it's what's below the surface that counts. Oprah works hard to minimize her status differences with her audience, which is the opposite of how male culture works. This is one of the things that make Oprah such a great salesperson, or of herself and of the values, people, and products she endorses. She simply makes women feel good about themselves, no matter what subject she's discussing. Her message is, you're a great person. Everything she does says, we're all the same. She's an extreme personification of female culture in the same way that Donald Trump is an extreme personification of male culture. Take a look at the cover headlines from an issue of O, the Oprah magazine, which is all about empowerment, affirmation, and juicy storytelling to see what I mean. You are an excellent woman. How to finally let that message seep into your bones. Makeover. Is your hair color working for you or against you? And then what happened? Gets swept away by 8 riveting true stories: a wife and a knife, the shocking phone call, lost life, new life, and more. The perfect summer dinner party, period. And she's 48 and starting to date. A post-divorce wardrobe plan. Can you imagine these empowering headlines on a man's magazine? You are an excellent man. No, this kind of affirmation is a woman's game. Readers are supposed to feel better about themselves after reading Oprah magazine. It's like having lunch with a good friend without the lunch or the good friend. The motto of the magazine is live your best life. It's a helpful slogan that resonates because women know they are supposed to be helpful, and they genuinely enjoy receiving help too. In women's culture, the entire world is a community where people connect with one another to help others realize their potential inside and out and to make life happier for everyone. So these are the gender differences just kind of like listed out. Empathy is a effective sales tool. Oh no, these aren't the gender differences. Empathy is an effective sales tool. Disclosing vulnerabilities can bond salespeople to their women customers. Saying something like, I remember the first time I installed this computer program, I found it confusing too, can immediately make a woman feel comfortable. This is the reassuring style of communication that women use with each other in conversation. The technique is especially powerful when it comes to complex and expensive purchases such as insurance policies, new homes, blah, blah, blah. But again, saying like, I remember when I was first starting to use money, like I was super skeptical. I saw these hair transformations and I was like, is that real? Is that Photoshop? Like what's happening? Like, can this be real? Like I remember being skeptical in the beginning. That's super powerful for women to hear. Validation and affirmation can help women say yes. Being a shrewd buyer is a form of status for women. I never pay full price, right? I always used to say, I'm a discount kind of girl. Show the discount program. Be like, I'm a discount kind of girl. I don't like paying full price for anything. Look, you can buy this system and you can get Purchase Plus off, your VIP discount off. Show them the value. I don't buy anything full price. Here's the perks of our programs. More than men, women need help justifying their purchases, especially when it comes to products they consider indulgences. Women tend to feel guiltier than men when spending money on themselves. Help women justify buying your products or service by actively validating their decision through words and images. I'm always saying, like, when I welcome a market partner, I'm always like, you just made the best decision ever, because women want to hear that. Right? And when someone signs up as a VIP, I say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for your transformation. Like your hair is going to love this. Affirm their decision, especially right after they make it. Humanize your company by, this one's not that great. Demonstrating appreciation is one of the simplest ways to generate word of mouth publicity and repeat business from women. Show your appreciation to women customers and clients early and often. Women are the thank you people of this world. You can bet they notice when a thank you hasn't been given to them. They prefer to give their business to the companies that demonstrate appreciation for it. And in return, they are more likely to talk about you with their friends and colleagues. So important to be sending your VIPs thank yous, be like serving them. They are your VIP. You want them to have a VIP experience. Gender difference number 3. Women have a higher verbal fluency than men. They focus on the details and will talk about their love of a product or service to their friends. Let's see. Women are interested in what something will do for them. Unlike men, women feel a strong sense of urgency, even obligation, to tell people about a new product or service they've discovered. It's almost an imperative in female culture. It goes back to women wanting to feel indispensable. They enjoy being the bearer of tidings that may help improve the lives of friends or family members in some way. Notice that if you compliment a woman's outfit, her first response will often just be one word, the name of the store she bought it. This is her shorthand way of telling someone how he or she can get the look too. It works something like this: Stacy, I love your dress. Response, Bloomingdale's. Even though the answer is only the name of the store, it conveys, I got it there and you can too. So some of the business implications of this gender difference include: don't lead with how something works, lead with the practical benefits. Women aren't usually as interested in the guts of something as men are. They're interested in the practical applications in the broader context of the purchase. Don't just answer the question about what it is, talk about where they're going to put it, how they're going to use it, and how it will affect the other people in their lives. Use stories to bring your service to life. Women respond to stories more than they do just to product information. This is so big. In fact, you'll notice that a woman will often answer questions with a story. This is a great technique for marketing, as well as for account executives who want to upsell customers. Tell a story of how other people have used your product or service, or paint the picture of a scenario in which women could picture themselves using it. So even like storytell about your VIPs, storytell about like, oh my gosh, this one girl I just helped out, she had like a bald spot on her hair, but I got her on the intense repair line and la 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 la, you know, like storytell about your business, about the wins that your business is experiencing. Leverage third-party endorsements and testimonials. The third-party credibility of having your product or service endorsed by a trusted source is often more valuable than advertising. Women trust credible experts, including their favorite magazine and bloggers, to edit options for them across a wide number of categories, which makes public relations an essential tool for companies reaching out to women. Basically, the third-party credibility is our testimonials. Like when your VIPs are texting you, when your market partners are like celebrating their wins, like make sure that you're sharing that type of stuff. Like third-party credit is huge, huge, huge. How are you guys feeling about all this stuff? I feel like I've been like reading and reading at you, but let's hear from you guys. Is this helpful? Are you liking this? Okay, good. You have ideas? Good. Do you want to share anything, Caitlin?
I have ideas. I was going to text you this after, but I'll just say it here. I'm like, what if we did like, so you were like saying the things that like, I think it was Oprah's books or something, and like just like ways to like evoke feeling and like the storytelling piece. And I'm like, what if we did some sort of like actual like workshop of like doing these things with everyone and like piecing together kind of like the story, but like, you know, I don't know, just even when you were naming those titles, like the backyard barbecue for something, I was like, I want to go. Like, right. So like just the way of like using your words to like evoke the emotion, but how could we like tangibly do that for like our businesses? And so I was just thinking like, what if we did like a workshop around it where we actually like did it for everyone and everyone could have kind of like I shouldn't say did it for everyone. We all like do it together, like mastermind style, but like everyone has like a a list of different ways that they can pull this for themselves when they're
Yeah,
storytelling and stuff.
I love that. I definitely want to do workshops.
That'd be so cool.
Cool. I'm going to keep reading and keep telling me your ideas. Okay. Selling yourself to female customers. Selling a product is one thing. Selling yourself is quite another. Selling to women successfully requires both. The most important thing to remember when selling to women is this: no matter what your product or service, you're really only selling one thing, and that's help. If what you're offering doesn't enhance her life, her work, or her family's life, then you're wasting your time and probably her time and probably your own too. So forget about the specifics of what you're selling and reframe it in your mind as selling help. The easiest path to yes from a female customer is through listening and asking open-ended questions. Todd Duncan said in a sales conversation, 80% of the conversation should be you listening, and 20% is just you asking questions. He also said 80% of sales conversations should be based on the emotion of like what it's going to feel like when either that product or like the community or the business itself is in that person's life, rather than like the details of it. It's like get the 80% needs to be focused on the feeling and 20% is just the details. Women, rocket science, it's not, but then again, good listening skills aren't common. When given the chance, women are likely to tell you everything you need to know how to customize a pitch and make a sale. Suddenly, the information that you might find trivial in any other context is liquid gold, as long as you can actually listen. So here are the tips. Make eye contact. If there is a woman waiting for you when you are dealing with someone else, nod and make eye contact to acknowledge her existence. She may quietly seethe if you do not, which is interesting to know, like in person, like definitely making eye contact. If you're hosting an event, like making sure that you're the host, you're looking at every single person, you are being like the hostess with the mostest. I know it's uncomfortable when you start like doing in-person things, but that's really, really, really important. Make eye contact. Let her speak. Women, but also when you're looking at your camera online, when you're like, I always like looking at the screen, like looking at myself, my own eyes in the camera, rather than looking up here. Because if you're looking at the camera, you're not really looking anyone in the eyes. Like when they're viewing your stories, you're not looking directly at them. So I look at my own eyes, like I'm talking to the screen, so that the people feel like I'm looking directly at them. So even that, I would say, is a big point. Let her speak. Women are socialized to wait their turn to speak and not to interrupt. Taking turns talking is something ingrained in women from childhood when they would take turns in role-playing games. Men, on the other hand, have a habit of interrupting each other to make their points, which is perfectly acceptable in male culture. Men's conversational style can be challenging and even provocative. Some men will take a devil's advocate position in a conversation just to keep things interesting. In a sales transaction with women, this style can be fatal. Too often, salespeople will talk nonstop to demonstrate their knowledge and forget to give their female prospect a chance to say something. When making your presentation or pitch, take a breath, give the prospect a moment to say what's on their mind. Forcing yourself to stay silent for a few moments is a powerful tool. Everyone hates an awkward silent moment and will try to fill it. This is especially true with women. If you let the crickets chirp, you may end up hearing exactly what's on her mind, and then you can customize your pitch accordingly. Explain without patronizing. Straddle the fine line between under-explaining and over-explaining by letting the customer be your guide. Prompt her by saying things like, stop me if I'm telling you something you already know, or posing a simple question such as, would you like me to go into detail about any specific feature of this service? That's another thing I always like ask people, like, well, I ask a ton of questions, like literally ask a ton of questions, because it's so, for instance, say someone's like, oh, like, tell me about Bonate. I would say, what do you want to know? I don't want to tell them about Monat because I could talk for 3 days about Monat. Like, I don't like what do you want to know? Like, what are you curious in? Then they're going to give me information, and then I'll be able to intelligently respond to their questions with the information that they're actually looking for. In all likelihood, she will ask you to hone in on just the feature she cares about most. Repeat her statements. Women are sometimes reluctant to ask too many questions during the sales process because they don't want to appear uninformed and thus an easy target. Save her the trouble of asking you dozens of questions by letting her talk and then repeating her statements back to her as questions. What I'm hearing you say is that you'd like to find a mid-range option. Is that right? When you get a positive response, it gives you license to go into detail on that particular aspect of the product or service. This technique also demonstrates that you've been listening to her, which women usually find impressive. Identify her biggest concern. It may be because she doesn't want to insult you or hurt your feelings, but women are often hesitant to bring up their greatest concern about what you're selling. If you ask her directly, she's more likely to tell you what's on her mind. I once went to a sales presentation in which I was asked, what is the one thing that concerns you most about choosing us as your vendor? I was stunned by the blunt question, and it compelled me to say that I was concerned that the senior level people in the room wouldn't be the people I'd be working with on a day-to-day basis. The vendor then had the opportunity to convince me that it wasn't true, and so I hired them. So again, like, what's your biggest concern about using Monat? If it's that your hair's going to fall out, let me show you all the pictures of these women who have amazing hair, right? What's your biggest concern about becoming a market partner? Well, it's because I don't know how to sell products. I don't think I'd be successful. I don't know who would buy from me. Oh, that's okay. My mentor Mel is actually doing a whole training series that you can watch the replays of like how to be a confident saleswoman, right? So like ask what their biggest concern is. You are a reflection of your brand. Yes, Caitlin, solve the problem. Women will notice everything about your selling environment, from how messy your desk is to the stain on your shirt. For most women, cleanliness equals competence and also respect for yourself, for your customers, and for your business. Be nice to others. Women pay attention to how you treat coworkers and service people. They also evaluate your company's reputation. This comes into play in a big way in business-to-business sales. The rule applies all the way from big things to small things. If you take a female prospect to lunch, make sure you are nice to the wait staff. She is watching. Assume nothing. Don't assume a woman has a husband. Don't assume she has kids. Don't assume she's not the decision maker. Don't assume anything. Women wield the purchasing power. Even in cases when they're not writing the checks themselves, they are the influencers who make things happen. This is an especially important point to remember with young women who have more disposable income than ever before and larger responsibilities at work than women of previous generations had at the same age. Cater to kids when you can. If a woman's children are happy and occupied, she can focus on her conversation with you. If they're miserable, so is she. Whether you use toys, videos, or coloring books, find ways to incorporate the kid factor into your environment so that mom can concentrate on whatever it is you're selling. Use compliments. Women compliment each other constantly. It's an important part of the American female culture. In sales situations, compliment her good judgment, her good taste, or great questions. Fair or not, it's generally acceptable for a female salesperson to compliment another woman's personal appearance. However, this is dangerous territory for men and best avoided. I actually had a copier salesman tell me to put my pretty little hand on the start button once, says Christine. I was so furious, I switched vendors. Kayla says no. Yeah, no. Disclose your own vulnerability. Acknowledge when a purchasing decision is difficult. Saying something like, I remember the first time I bought my own hard drive, I didn't know where to begin, will be appreciated and make her feel good that you're helping her. This kind of affirmation is a critical part of the way women talk to one another. The geniuses at Apple are really good at this. Acknowledge her male partner when selling to couples. Women tend to be sensitive about making sure their men look good in front of others, especially when they earn high incomes or make more money than their partners. It's important to make sure a woman's husband or male partner is made to feel important and included in the sales process, even if she is clearly the decision maker. Understand that she may be saying little during the transaction because she doesn't want to inadvertently emasculate her husband. Don't assume a nod means yes. Men and women have different reasons for nodding. Men nod to show agreement. Women nod to demonstrate that they're listening. Women's nods can mean, yes, go on, I understand. They don't necessarily mean, yes, I'm ready for you to close this sale. Women often nod vigorously when they're in conversation with one another. Watch for the cues and don't try to close too fast, or you'll risk turning her off with what she thinks is a hard sell. Caitlin, as I nod. Lead with the emotional, close with the rational. This is particularly true for luxury products where the need to buy is purely an emotional one. Women need help justifying a major purchase more than men do. Help her rationalize the decision so there are no guilty feelings about spending money on herself. When it comes to shopping, guilt is largely a female issue, probably because men buy more products based on need and women buy more products based on want. Discuss service and maintenance policies. Don't skimp on this information because, as we've seen, women will fast forward to the worst case scenario and want to know what their options are should things go wrong. Trust and peace of mind can be your competitive advantage. So even just like fully explaining the VIP program, like that's part of my, as soon as I send a cart, I'm saying, hey, what you're going to see is the VIP, that this is a VIP cart. That's the best way to take advantage of our products. What being a VIP means is XYZ. And so I explain all that. And then, okay, if you have any questions about that, the next thing that I need to explain is a flex ship. What you'll see is that I've scheduled a flex ship. It's super flexible. You have total control over it, blah, 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 blah. And so I walk them through everything. So I'm not just sending a cart and just being like, I hope she signs up. I'm sending a cart, walking her through step by step so that she has all the information she needs to feel super confident in hitting join now and becoming my market partner, becoming my VIP, whatever it is. Give her a reason to tell friends or colleagues about you. Women are a great source of referrals. Give her something to pass along to her friends so that they can get a discount on your product or service. At a minimum, ask her if there's anyone she knows who might be in need of whatever you're selling. If she likes you, she will want to help you succeed. And that's it that I have highlighted for tonight. But Caitlin, do you want to talk about what you're doing right now, actually asking for referrals?
I'm like literally messaging the girl right now. So I washed somebody's hair, one of my neighbors, and she hasn't signed up yet, but I was like, you know what? I was telling Mel, she's the like PTA president of one of the schools here. Like, I think she has a network. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna ask her. So we're conversing about it, which by the way, Mel, she's like, honestly, I know it sounds silly, but my friends like suck. Like I've done these things before and they like don't come that often. And I'm like happy to do it, but I just don't know like what the turnout would be. And so I was like reassuring her, but she did say, but I think I need to like pay you to like wash my hair like once a month because my hair felt so good. And I was like, you don't need to pay me to wash your hair. You just need to get the products because then you can feel that every day. Like that was the conversation. So I'm waiting for her response back. And I said, and because she's feeling this way, right? Like I'm trying to like relate to her about her friends not maybe showing up and this type of thing. And I said, well, why don't I just add you to the pop-up that I'm doing now? You can get a feel for it, see what you think. If you think this is something that you would want to do, then we'll go from there. So I'm trying to just like meet her where she's at. So that being said, I do ask for referrals often, because it's like getting into other people's networks is huge. And I'm going over to Wendy's, my other neighbor, tomorrow, so I'm gonna ask her to do one too. She just
So
said I
good.
could come over, or Saturday at 10 a.m. So I think that asking her for referrals is huge. And I prefer to do that because yeah, you have like a built-in like trust, because if you've like served the person well, they're gonna want to support you too. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Thank
Is
you
that
for
what you
sharing.
were wanting me to say?
Yeah, exactly. All right, y'all. That's all I had planned for tonight. I know it was kind of a lot, but I hope that it helps get your juices flowing. And especially when it, like for me, that Oprah stuff like really clicked. I was like, she really doesn't have anything in common with all of her audience. Like it's actually crazy how much influence she has. And it's all about relating and connecting and making women feel understood, and valued. And so I hope that you guys feel more confident, and like that's really your job in showing up on social media, is just to be someone that people can feel connected to and be someone that people want to be friends with. Honestly, like that's primarily your job on social. And then once you've established that, the sales is easy. Like it's so much more effortless because you have the know, like, and trust. And so I hope this was inspiring. I hope it was helpful. I'm going to upload the recording to our team YouTube page. And I'm excited about that. But thank you guys for hanging out. And I will see you all next week. We will talk about execution. All right. Love you guys. Bye.